Well, welcome everyone. We are so excited that you have joined us to learn about this voyage of the Vikings. So whether you're here live or watching our recording on YouTube, welcome, welcome, and thank you for joining us. We're so glad that you're taking some time to learn about this cruise. So I have a question for you. This is a rhetorical question. What do James Bond, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Star Trek, Captain America, all have in common? Well, Iceland served as a filming location for all of these movie and entertainment franchises. And then I was going to ask, what do Iceland, Greenland, Newfoundland all have in common? Well, they were all explored and settled by the Vikings in the first millennia. So, it's just that's why this is called the Voyage of the Vikings, because we are going to go to all of those wonderful places that were explored by those Viking explorers. So here's our agenda for tonight. We'll briefly introduce you to our agency. We're going to cover the itinerary in detail because that is what makes this cruise so special, is all the wonderful places that you visit. And then we'll talk about our pricing, our discounted pricing that's going to save you money over booking directly with Holland. And then we'll have a chance to answer questions. And we'll also, I forgot, we're going to talk about what makes Holland America so special, their pillars of excellence. So just really quickly, Steve and I have a passion for travel. We share that passion for travel with all of our guests. And we look for these really, really unique destinations like this 35-night Holland America cruise, something that we can share with people and promote and let them know how special these types of cruises are, and also give them the savings in that we take out group pricing and it is lower than you would get if you book direct. That's one of the reasons we host these cruise nights, is to get the word out, because people don't know to call us and book it with us if we don't get the word out. And like I said, we travel a lot ourselves, but we use that firsthand experience to give our clients a premier first class experience whenever they visit their destinations. We're really easy to work with: call, text, phone, email. I get back to people usually within 24 hours and usually within 5 minutes of a voicemail or even an email. So let's talk about this fabulous itinerary. I'll be touching on each port of call and talking about what makes it so special. So there's a map where you can see some of the destinations where the Vikings voyaged in that first century. And we are going to visit 5 ports in Iceland on this cruise, and 3 ports and 2 scenic sailing ports in Greenland. And then I like to have this map of the Canadian Maritimes, because Captain Cook was one of the first uh, sailors, captains, to go and actually chart and map this area. And he was a very excellent cartographer, and a lot of his maps are considered nearly as accurate as they are today. And we're going to visit 2 ports in Nova Scotia, and then 4 ports in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So I have their little mascots here for there. So here's the ship. It's the Zeterdom, and then you can see this map of all the places that we're going to go. We start in Boston, so you get to go all the way to continental Europe and back without taking an overseas flight. And I have to tell you, those 35 nights are going to go by so quickly. On the last night of our 28 night, we sat around the table and talked, and we said, gosh, it seems like we just got on this ship yesterday. So it really does go by quickly. Here's the detailed look at the itinerary. You can see all the ports that are included: Portland, Maine, Sydney, Nova Scotia. And I also want to point out a couple of places that are in Europe. So we spent overnight in Rotterdam, and then we also going to visit the Isle of Man. It's between Britain and Ireland. I believe it's considered like its own. It's not even part of Ireland, but it's kind of his Irish culture. It's very Celtic. And then Belfast, Northern Ireland, and then back to Iceland, back to Greenland, back to Newports in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. So the other great highlight of this cruise is going to be that this cruise passes through the solar eclipse. Now, Steve and I say accidentally did a solar eclipse cruise with Holland America this last spring. We went through the Panama Canal, and we just happened to be in Cabo on a day when it was a 95% solar eclipse. These are our pictures we took, and of course we're wearing our eclipse glasses. This is the path of totality. That part that you see in red is the path of totality, and you can see it goes right over the tip of Iceland and over Greenland. So we are going to be in that path. Here you can see the timing of the solar eclipse. And again, you get another look at that path. So that's going to be another highlight of this amazing cruise. So now we're going to talk about each of the ports of call. So the first port of call, we're actually going to get on the ship, of course, in Boston, and then we're going to head up to Portland, Maine. And Portland has a lot of interesting things that we can do there. It was settled in the 1600s. You could go to buy the famous area of the rich and famous Kennebunkport. In town, there's all kinds of shops and galleries. There's excursions that include like a lobster bake or just kind of a general New England panorama. So beautiful little site. Then we're going to head to Sydney, Nova Scotia. And this town was founded in 1785. It's a home to about 30,000 people. And really, tourism is one of the big things that goes on there. They used to have a steel mill, but that closed in the 1960s. Some of the beautiful things you can see there are the Cabot Trail, which is a beautiful road that goes along the wood, along the coast of the ocean there. Then you've got Old Town Sydney, which is where we spent our time. We walked around there and visited the shops. And when we were in port, they had a couple of like craft fairs going on, and it's a beautiful little place to visit. And of course, Holland America is going to have some fabulous excursions that you can take from here to explore the area a little bit more in depth. Then we'll head off to Corner Brook, Newfoundland. And there is a Captain Cook historic site that overlooks the city, has a small population, about 20,000, and there's Paper Mill that is the major employer there. But one of the big attractions in Corner Brook is the Grossmorn National Park. And that's where we spent our time when we were there a couple years ago. It was a beautiful tour. It has this beautiful lake. There's a couple different tours that you can take. You can take one that kind of stops at a lot of scenic stops along the way. And there's one that takes you out to this lake, and you can go for a lake cruise on that. But if you want to stay in town, there's a beautiful park, and there's all kinds of streams and pubs and places to explore there. So, either way, you can go further afield or explore a little bit more. Red Bay, Labrador. This was a home to Basque whalers in 1550, and it's on the National Historic Site. It's considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site, despite the fact that it has a population of just 169 residents. It is such a friendly town that when we went ashore there, we got off our little tender boat. The mayor of the town was standing on the dock and handing us out little maps of town and telling us all the things that were open for us to see there. So we did a wonderful little stroll around town. And they have a little museum, and the prize that they have in that museum is they found a Basque whaling ship that was still in pretty good shape. They have that on display at the museum. There are all kinds of whale bones and relics that you can see there. And it's a beautiful little town. And like I said, you can take excursions through Holland America, take you a little further afield, but it was a wonderful town to just explore on foot and just see the beautiful scenery that is there in that part of the world. So these are some of my favorite pictures from when we were in Canada a couple years ago. That's my picture of Grossmorn National Park. That is the giant fiddle in Sydney, Nova Scotia. And right behind it is their local concert hall. And in that concert hall, you can go to live music performances. And the music is kind of like Celtic, maybe like a little bit like bluegrass. It's kind of that blend of the old world and the new world. So their history of music has been maintained, and they have live performances there. You can book an excursion that includes that. This picture here is the picture of our ship, and that is from Red Bay, Labrador. And we were looking through the fog. It was kind of a foggy day. It was a really unusual day. And then when we sailed away a couple times, we had the most beautiful sunsets and scenery on both sides of the ship. So we're going to head out to Peamut, Greenland. And it used to be called Frederikshavn in Danish. But because Denmark is working with the Inuits there to kind of transition Greenland to being more of an independent country, they have changed a lot of the names to the original Inuit names. So that's why it's called Peamut. This is a colorful little town. That's what's wonderful about Greenland is all the buildings are super colorful. And this goes back to the days of the Danish colonies. They would paint each building a different color to represent what it was. So a blue building would be police, a red building would be fire, and I think a yellow building would be a schoolhouse. I think I may not have those colors exactly right. Now it's just random colors, and they're beautiful, bright colors. And you can imagine in this stark landscape when it's very white and wintry, that those colorful buildings kind of lighten your day. Then when we're going to head to Nanortalik, Greenland, and Nanortalik was first settled by the Norse ahead of the Inuit. So what's really interesting about Greenland is that parts of Greenland were settled by the Norse. There was what was called the Little Ice Age, and the Norse were farmers and ranchers, and they just couldn't make a go of it in that harsh climate. So they abandoned Greenland in, like, I believe about the 13th century. There was some volcanic eruptions. It cooled the earth. And so they think because of climate change, that's the reason they left. And then the Inuits, who were hunter-gatherers, mostly living subsistence off the mammals of the sea, like whales and walruses and those kind of and seals. They were able to move in and occupy that space because they had a different lifestyle. So in every little town in Greenland, they have some wonderful museums where they have colorful displays of costumes. This particular town, when we were there, they had a little concert by the local church choir. They were charging $5 to go see it, I think it was, and they did a couple concerts during the day. The end of town is set up as a museum. And so they have like a little fence that they put over the end of town. And then it's like $12. And there is an old turf building that you can see. And then I have this picture. This is their blubber factory museum. And they have, of course, these kayaks. They have some of the things that they used to do to harvest blubber from both from all the different sea mammals that had the blubber. So it's kind of interesting to see what their way of life was 100 years ago and what it is now. Of course, Holland America offers some tours in this area. They'll take you a little further afield. We enjoyed just doing a simple walking tour in town. And yes, that great big iceberg was grounded right in front of town. It was really cool. Then you're going to go through Prince Christian Sound. And I'm glad to say these are my own pictures that I took on our day going through Prince Christian Sound. I'm very much looking forward to that. You don't stop at this village, but there is a little village right in the middle of the sound. It's one of the remote places, and it's kind of just like a seasonal hunting village, like a fishing village would be the best way to explain it. And there are several of these beautiful tidewater glaciers in Prince Christian Sound, and the ship, passes by these. You get a great chance to see those, and it is one of the most stunningly beautiful places in the world with all of those fragged mountains and everything. It's beautiful. And here's a couple more of my highlights from that I took from Greenland when we were there a couple of years ago. The museums have these wonderful displays with the colorful costumes. There's little churches in every town, and like I said, every town has a little museum. And then, of course, these are two of another set of glaciers that you go see when you're going through Prince Christian Sound. Then we're going to head across the sea, and we're going to spend 2 days in Reykjavik. So that is great because there is so much to see in Iceland from the wonderful town of Reykjavik. I mean, there are literally so many things to see and do there. Every time we've been there, we've done something different. You can take a walk along the waterfront where they have these wonderful sculptures. You can go to the Blue Lagoon. It's kind of a tourist trap, but it's really beautiful and so unique. And then, of course, you can see the town and a lot of the historic buildings. And this is their 21st or 20th century cathedral that's right in downtown. This is my number one recommended tour to do in Reykjavik is the Golden Circle tour. And this is where you're going to go see the geyser. That geyser goes off about every 8 minutes. There is also where you get to see the Gullfoss waterfall. It's called the Golden Falls. And then you can also visit Thingvellir National Park, which is where the two tectonic plates that connect Europe and the Americas meet, and they're splitting apart. And so you get all these amazing volcanic rock formations and crevices. So it really is an amazing thing. Additional things you can do helicopter flight seeing. You can go see the Icelandic ponies. This is a map of Reykjavik, so you can kind of see where everything is located. This is the Reykjanes Peninsula here. There are special tours that go out there. Some beautiful scenic areas there. Here's the city of Reykjavik. This is where you go to Thingvellir, the geyser, and the Golden Falls. So beautiful things that can be seen from there. This is the South Coast tour. We did this another time we were visiting Iceland. I recommend this one, especially if you like waterfalls. These are 3 different waterfalls that you can see on that tour. And this one in the middle, of course, that's the one that you can walk all the way behind it. It's an amazing tour. You see a lot of volcanic formations, and that gives you an idea of where it's located from Reykjavik. It does mean that you're going to spend several hours driving, but the landscapes are really interesting. Most of these tours that go from Reykjavik are going to be about 8 hours, but the good thing is you're overnight in town, so you have plenty of time to do all of these things. So just a couple more highlights of some of the things that we've seen in our different visits to Iceland. There is a wonderful history museum in the downtown. There are places that you can go out to visit farms. And this particular farm, this lady had Icelandic horses and a turf building, an old-fashioned turf building, and she had Icelandic sheepdogs. We've also done whale watching, and there's a picture from our day of whale watching. These are all my own pictures from several of our trips. So then we're going to head across the sea and go back to the Nordic homeland, and we're going to visit Edgefjord. And there's going to be a scenic sailing day. You can see how far that is up, and we're going to be able to see all of that as we're going up and out. So really going to be beautiful sailing. And this is some pictures of what the fjord looks like. Holland America, this is a brand new port for them, so they don't even have any excursions published for this yet. I'm sure that they will have them probably once we get inside of a year. But some of the things that you can do there are like kayaking, hiking. It's a beautiful area if you've never been to Norwegian fjords. And then Holland America is going to go back to its homeland. They're going to go to Rotterdam, Netherlands. And Rotterdam is the biggest port in all of Netherlands. It was nearly destroyed in World War II, and after the war, they rebuilt some of the buildings, but they decided that they really wanted to rebuild the whole town in a modern style. So you don't see a lot of the cutesy old Dutch buildings like you would see in Amsterdam. Instead, you have these amazing avant-garde modern designs that are there. It's one of the most diverse cities. It has very multicultural, all different kinds of foods that you can get here. And it is their largest, like I said, their largest maritime hub. But this is your starting place to enjoy so many different things, different parts of the Netherlands, because again, we're overnight. So you can take 2 tours. They have an Amsterdam on your own, where they're going to transfer you from Rotterdam to Amsterdam, and you can explore the city on your own all day. They have visits to Kinderdijk, which is where it's a wonderful windmill museum there. You can visit The Hague. You can visit the Royal Delft factory. That's where they make that cobalt blue fine china that's featured on the Holland America ships and kind of world famous. So lots of different things that you can do from Amsterdam. And because we're overnight there, you can do 2 different things and really get your fill of the Netherlands. So then we'll head out to the British Isles. And our first stop is going to be the city of Douglas on the Isle of Man. And I'm super excited about this because I have never been to the Isle of Man. I just grabbed some pictures off the internet and away we went. But these are just some of the sites. It's the largest town on the Isle of Man. And I saw that picture, and the only familiarity I had with Isle of Man prior to doing a little research on this was the movie Waking Ned Devine, which takes place in a little small village on the Isle of Man. And I was surprised to see how large this city was. But again, lots of different tours that Holland America is going to be able to offer you there in Douglas Isle of Man. And then we'll head to Belfast, Northern Ireland. And we did visit there a couple of years ago on a different cruise. We did the tour where we kind of went a little bit through the city. We saw some of the historic areas where the conflict was taking place. And then we headed out of town to head to see the beautiful scenery along the Antrim coast. And that I loved much more than the city. I didn't like feeling that tension, but they say that they're warm and welcoming now, and that past is behind them. You can visit, wonderful downtown areas. There's pub districts and there's great food culture there. And one of the things that is right near the cruise port, you wouldn't even need a tour to get to it, would be they have what am I trying to say? They have a Titanic museum, and it's because it's where the Titanic was built, was right in that port, and they have a museum that has all kinds of artifacts and history and stories related to the Titanic. These are some pictures from my last trip from Belfast. Again, we drove along that beautiful scenic Antrim coast. We visited the Giant's Causeway, and then that's Dunluce Castle. So beautiful area in Northern Ireland to visit. Then we head back to Iceland to Seyðisfjörður. And this is interesting because it is the only international car ferry port in Iceland. And they have ferries that go from Denmark to Seyðisfjörður. One of the big attractions there is Gufufafoss. It's located about 2 miles from town. And there's also some panoramic vistas once you're up there at the waterfall where you can kind of see everything. It's really beautiful. They have the Rainbow Street and, of course, that beautiful picturesque chapel at the end. It is really a cute little town, and it's an artist colony. So some of the excursions that are offered by the cruise line there's one that's called Chasing Waterfalls, and you go see 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different waterfalls in the area. They'll take you to some bird cliffs and some nature reserves that have like 47 different species of birds. They have sightseeing boats that take you to different fjords. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in Seyðisfjörður. But if you are relatively fit, you don't have to spend any money to hike up to that waterfall. It is, like I said, it's about 2 miles. It is uphill. There's not much traffic on the road, so you can walk along the side of the road, or there is a marked trail that kind of goes along the side of the way, but the trail is very narrow, and I actually found the road to be pretty easy to walk on. Then we're going to head to Húsavík, and that is, you can see, that is one of the northernmost cities in Iceland, but it maintains a pretty warm temperature year round. There's some scenic drives that you can do from there. You can go visit a turf farm. It's a farm that has those old-fashioned turf buildings that they use. I mean, those turf walls are probably 3 feet thick and stacked on top of each other. And that's how they kept the houses warm in ancient times, or not even ancient times, just, before modern times. You can tour a folk museum showcasing some of the traditional Icelandic farm life. You can try some of the Icelandic foods. This is a great place for whale watching. Húsavík used to be one of the premier whaling areas of Iceland, but of course they really don't do that anymore. So it's a great place to go see these beautiful whales. And if you have ever seen the silly Will Ferrell comedy Eurovision, the Story of Fire saga, you will recognize Húsavík as the hometown. And the lead female character writes a song about Húsavík, her hometown, and that song was actually nominated for Best Song at the Academy Awards that year. So from Húsavík, we're going to head around the West Fjords and go to Grundarfjörður. And Grundarfjörður is, of course, famous for this triple waterfall and that huge pyramid-shaped mountain. It was featured in the Game of Thrones. You see this picture all the time in publications about Visit Iceland. You can walk to that waterfall. It is about a 2-mile flat walk, so you got to walk in and out. It's about a 4-mile round trip. Or there is a guy that has a little bus that runs around. If you can find that bus and catch it, he takes people there and back on his little shuttle bus. There's also puffins in the area and several other waterfalls. There's a waterfall the other direction, about 2 miles, and I've walked to that one too. There is my own picture. I'm very proud of this picture. I got it blown up. It's hanging on my wall in my house of that famous waterfall and that mountain. And I kind of featured this. I started to get in the habit of taking botanical pictures when I travel, and that is in Iceland. And then there's a picture from town when we were there, and you see that mountain here from a different angle. Again, after we leave there, we are going to go do our solar eclipse cruising. And hopefully we will have a nice clear day, but either way, we'll be in total darkness. So that's something that I have never experienced, is total darkness of an eclipse. It was still pretty light out when we took these pictures in Cabo San Lucas. So that'll be something I'm really excited about. And yeah, like I said, hopefully we have clear weather so we can see the sun passing. And of course, I would recommend that you bring your own eclipse glasses. They are advertising this as an eclipse cruise. The one in Cabo was not advertised. We brought our own, but many people didn't bring them, and it wasn't safe for them to look at the sun. So we are supposed to cruise back through Prince Christian Sound again. Now, 3 years ago, when we did a version of this cruise, we were supposed to do it both ways, and it eventually dropped one of the ways. So I can't guarantee that we'll do it both ways, but I think the plan is to do it at least one way. Then we head back to our next stop in Greenland, which is Qaqortoq. And this is a wonderful, cute little town. Again, it can be explored on foot, about 3,000 people. There's a chance to walk around. There's, like I said, the outdoor museums, the colorful buildings. There are tours that you can take through Holland America that will take you a little bit further afield. We really enjoy just kind of seeing the local people and the simplicity of life in Greenland. Here's some of my own pictures that we took when we were in Greenland. It really is a beautiful, beautiful country, and just so different. And in the summer, the wildflowers are like crazy. So it's quite beautiful. Then we head to St. Anthony's, Newfoundland. Now, this was at one time like a French and Basque fishing settlement, but they discovered in the 20th century ruins of a Viking settlement there. And that was proof that the Vikings made it all the way to North America. And they called it Vineland. I guess there must have been a lot of wild grapes that grew in that part of North America. If you want to go see that tour, it's Les Anson Meadows. Book it right away, because it's sold out when we did this a couple years ago and we missed our chance. And this town doesn't really have any public transit infrastructure. It's about 35 minutes from town. If you don't have a tour that's going there, it's not like you can pick one up on the pier. You have to book it ahead of time. We ended up doing our own Viking experience. We went to a brewery and sampled a whole bunch of Viking beers, and that was fun. But this time we've already booked our Les Anson Meadows tour, so we're very excited about that. Then we're going to head to St. John's, Newfoundland. This was, again, an old settlement. It's first settled in 1583. This is a pretty big population, 100,000 people. And we enjoyed, again, exploring town on our own, but there are different tours. You can do guided hiking in the area. You can do whale and puffin boats tour. You can do a city walk with a guide that's going to give you a little bit of the history. They even have like a food and wine experience, so you get to do a tasting tour. You can see this town, like Greenland, has all these beautiful, colorful buildings, and it's just a wonderful place to visit. Halifax, Nova Scotia is a big city, 400,000 people. Again, it's been around since about 1749. And Nova Scotia, of course, means New Scotland. So they really embrace their Celtic heritage there. We had a bagpiper play us as we were leaving. We went to Peggy's Cove. Our tour guides were all wearing kilts. So we really had that feeling of being in New Scotland. We also visited the cemetery where the victims of the Titanic were buried. So that was very interesting too. So if you wanted on this tour, you could go to Belfast and go see the Titanic Museum there, and then you could do a tour here that would take you to see where some of the some of the victims were buried. So very interesting city and history. I believe it was Halifax that was a good portion of the town was destroyed in an explosion in the early 20th century. I know it's one of these ports. It's either Halifax or St. John's. It's sticking in my mind that it is Halifax.
It is
And
Halifax.
yeah, and these are some of my highlights from we were visiting there a couple years ago. I never found a Labrador in Labrador, but I found my Newfoundland in Newfoundland, and I asked the lady if I could take a picture with her dog, and she said yes. In St. John's, again, there's pictures of those jelly bean covered colored buildings. There is a beautiful Irish basilica on top of the hill. You can hike up there, and in the convent next to it is this masterpiece. It's called the Veiled Virgin. That is carved out of a single piece of marble by an Italian master, and he gifted it to the nuns. So if you go visit this church and then you go over to the convent, just make sure you're not wearing perfume because there's a big sign up. This is a scent-free. Okay, apparently one of the nuns is allergic to perfume. But anyway, you knock on the door and they let you in two at a time, and you can go see this Veiled Virgin statue, and they ask you to leave a donation if you would like to. And then there's Peggy's Cove. Beautiful day when we went out to Peggy's Cove. So I'm going to go briefly about the Holland American experience. They are a wonderful cruise line, and their ships are just the right size. This is on the Zuiderdam, 2,000 passenger ship. We just got off the sister ship, which is the Westerdam, and had an amazing time for 28 days. Really, Holland America is for foodies. It's for wine lovers, it's for music lovers, and we'll talk about the different pillars that Holland America builds their experience on. So they want to give you destination experience, and that's one of the reasons we partner with Holland America on a lot of cruises, because they have longer itineraries that really give you that immersive destination and take you to places that you don't go in any other cruise. They have a wonderful culinary experience, whether it be the main dining room, the buffet, the specialty dining. It's all excellent, very fresh. They pay a lot of attention to making sure that they're curating fresh fish. They have a fresh fish program that basically means they're taking on fresh fish every time they come into port. So they're curating it in port. And music lovers, we could sit in the Rolling Stone Rock Room and listen to that band play for hours. They were so wonderful. Great service, and of course, those spacious ships. Plenty of space for the people on there, but not so many passengers, only 2,000 passengers. And on a cruise like this, there's not going to be many children. They're just, and most of the passengers are probably going to lean towards 55 plus, just simply because unless you have a job where you work remotely, you're not going to take a 35-night cruise. You know, the 7 and 14 nights, yes, working people are doing, but it's mostly going to be retired. And talk about for explorers. So Holland America offers amazing excursions, amazing scenery that you can see right from your ship's deck. We saw so many whales. We went up to the Arctic Circle. We saw walrus on the ice. So many things that you can see right from the ship, depending on your itinerary. And they have, again, amazing excursions. And so whether you're doing one that's curated by Holland or independently, there's always something for you to see. This is their culinary council. They have all of these world-renowned chefs that contribute to their food and dining program. We just feel like there's just so many delicious things included in the dining experience. Their fast food joint is out by the pool. It's called the Dive In. Sometimes at the sail away parties, they have these little appetizer bites that you can have. They have pizza. It's a wonderful experience. And the Lido Marketplace is open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacking. They open it again at 10 p.m. If you want to go back there and get a quick bite to eat, you can go from 10 to midnight and get a wonderful snack there. They have stations. So you might have the home style station where you're going to have meatloaf and mashed potatoes. They have the Asian and Indian station. That's usually where we eat. And for 28 days, they didn't repeat very many things in that station. So we always had a variety of different Asian and Indian foods. They have sushi. They have sandwiches. I mean, you name it. They've got it in the Lido Cafe. And their specialty dining experience is really amazing. We absolutely love Pinnacle Grill's, their steakhouse. We had 3 wonderful meals on our 28-day cruise. We did 2 nights that were included with our Have It All package. And then as part of our group's promotion, we gave everyone in our group a lunch at Pinnacle Grill. And it is almost a full menu. Just a few things are missing, and they've substituted a burger, but you can get great steaks at your lunch menu there as well. And the Italian food at Canaletto, it's a little bit simpler setting because they have a upgraded part of the seating area in the Lido marketplace that they put tablecloths on. They really make it beautiful. They have table service, and they use the kitchen in the Lido marketplace to make all these freshly prepared dishes. So the nice thing is the kitchen is just right there, and the food comes out hot and delicious. Now the music is what I love so much about Holland America. And on this size ship, they're either going to have the B.B. King Blues Club or the Rolling Stone Rock Room. But in reality, the musical sets and the musicians that they hire are pretty much interchangeable, those two things. All right, did you guys just lose my screen? My screen just went blank, so let me give it a second. My computer just sometimes does this. There we go. Okay, it's back, right? Oh,
I don't see it yet. Hold on.
I think I have to start my screen share again because, yeah, let me start my screen share again. Let's see. That's right.
There
You're
you go.
seeing the music walk picture.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, if every once in a while my computer just flakes out like that, I don't know why. All right, so let's keep going. The music walk is wonderful on Holland America. The world stage, they have all kinds of guest entertainers and different people that come in and perform there. My computer just nice night to come back and for me to be able to share again. But the service is just impeccable. We had a wonderful service in the dining room. We had just the rooms are serviced twice a day on Holland America. So you get wonderful, your room cleaned. It's always a wonderful experience to have people that are waiting on you in one of the bars, and they're gonna bring you your drink. They're going to know what your favorite drink is and remember it. So the service is just impeccable on Holland America. It's one of the things that I really love. And now I'm going to get back to sharing my screen. So there we go. All right. Keeping going. The public spaces on all of these, I call them the directional ships. They're called the Vista class. North, south, east, and west is what all the words mean in Dutch. And the public spaces have all been renovated. They're fresh and beautiful, really lovely public spaces on there. This is your home away from home. You can see the linens and everything are fresh looking, fairly new carpet. There's one of the lounges with the, beautiful upholstered furniture, just a lovely space. And I hear people tell me all the time that Holland America is only for old people, but I like to say that age is a state of mind, and they present a lively atmosphere and fun. You can see this picture right here was just taken on our 8-night cruise, our 28-night cruise, and that is on Orange Night. That's one of the theme nights that they have, and it's their Dutch night. They celebrate their Dutch heritage. It's a wonderful experience in that room. Now, I always like to go over what's included with your cruise because Holland America, a cruise vacation is such an inclusive vacation. You've got your accommodations, your fine dining, your casual dining. You've got a wonderful gym. They have in-room movies. They have in-theater movies, cooking demonstrations, you name it, all kinds of activities. They have, and I don't even mention this in the slides, they have a wonderfully curated library of books that you can go in and borrow while you're on the cruise. And they just ask that you return it by the end of the cruise. And it's not just find a book, leave a book. These are books that you can actually borrow, like novels and interesting biographies and things like that you can take and read while you're on the cruise and just return it before the end of the cruise. And again, beautiful, wonderful music, nightclubs, and your standard beverages are going to be included no matter which program you book under, that's going to be like juice with breakfast, brewed tea, coffee, iced tea, ice water, lemonade, all of those included. And room service is included with Holland America. They don't have a charge for room service. And they even have afternoon tea available if you get a little hungry in the afternoon, with little sandwiches and that kind of thing up in the crow's nest observation area. So a couple things are extra. So, and I need to update this now because it looks, because the gratuities have gone to 17 for a regular room and 17.50 for a suite. But the gratuities are not included. The spa services, of course, are not included. Gym classes, sometimes they have classes that you have to take. Of course, they don't give you an allowance for your casino gambling. Actually, in some cases, people get, sometimes they get a little allowance for that. But transfers, air, specialty dining, alcohol, that's not all included if you book at the standard price. But right now, you can enhance your experience with the Have It All, and it's the Have It All Plus package. It's only $60 per person per day. It adds 3 nights of specialty dining, the surf Wi-Fi and it's premium Wi-Fi package because it's the Plus package. It adds $300 of shore excursion credit, and it also adds the premium beverage package. When it's Have It All Plus, you get all of those things plus free gratuities, and they are still running Have It All Plus. So it's supposed to maybe expire around July 31st. So if you're interested in getting those plus amenities, which bring that value up to $132 per person per day, and you only pay $60 per person more for it, now is the time to book, because that plus package really has a lot more value than the standard package, and it costs the same. So it's an early booking bonus. Here's what it has in the Plus package: the elite beverage package, the premium Wi-Fi, the specialty dining, the shore excursion credit, free prepaid gratuities, and all that adds up to about $132 per person per day value. And again, you can book it with Holland America's rates that include that. You can book it with our CruiseOne exclusive rates that don't include that, but for just $60 per person per day, you can add that package to our pricing, and you still come out way ahead than if you booked the Have It All rate with Holland America directly. And I'll show you that. This is pricing I grabbed from our system and Holland America's system just this morning. So I went on to look and booked. I was looking at the Victor David category of balcony cabin. That's balcony. So we add our Have It All to this price that you see here, and it takes it up to $1,579 per person based on double occupancy. That's a savings of $820 per person overbooking with Holland America Direct. So not only do you get all the advantages of my expertise and service as your travel agent, but you will also get a better price by booking through us. So want to explain, you add the $2,100 to our discounted group price, you still come out ahead than if you booked with Have It All Plus. This is a summary of all the cabins. It's not even all, it's some of the cabins we're holding in inventory. There are other cabins that can be swapped out, and this ship is selling fast. When we were on the cruise in last month in June, and we booked our cabin, there weren't a lot of cabins left to choose from. So if you are considering booking this, I strongly encourage you to book right away. Our prices are amazing on this, and I think they're only going to keep going up at Holland America. As long as there's cabins available, we will keep our group prices. So that's the good thing about me locking in those prices. So some additional information to give you. We are adding a special promotion. Anybody who books through our agency, we are going to invite you to dine on us. We will have lunch for 2 on a sea day at Pinnacle Grill. And like I said, it's nearly the full dinner menu. And then you also get an extra dinner for 2 at the Italian specialty restaurant, the Canaletto. And that is our special gift to you for being part of our group. And you get that whether you book with Have It All Plus or whether you book with a standard rate. And somebody asked me before we started our presentation, do I just do Holland America? And the answer is no. So I just want to show you really quickly the other products that we have, specials that have similar savings like this. We've got Antarctica in 26 and 27, scenic sailing only on Holland America and on the Celebrity Equinox. The Holland America is their Grand South America tour that includes Antarctica, and that's a 70-day voyage. That's a grand voyage. But we also have the Celebrity Equinox, which is a 14-day scenic sailing of Antarctica, just like you see in this picture. We've also got some other solar eclipse cruises. There is a 28-night Scandinavia one that will be in Greenland and Iceland during the solar eclipse day, and that departs from Dover. So that does require the overseas flight, but we do offer that as well. And we also have a 13-day Mediterranean that is going to have the solar eclipse, also with Holland America. And then we have a 14-night, so I left the T off that, Celebrity Ascent, actually it's a Celebrity Apex, I'm going to correct myself on that too, with the solar eclipse, and that is round trip from Southampton. So we have some other solar eclipse cruises. We are promoting a group on the 28-night Alaska sailing round trip from Seattle. We just got back from that cruise. It was absolutely amazing. We went into the Arctic Circle. We saw a walrus on the ice. It was amazing. I think between our group, we saw every large animal species that lives in Alaska. It was an amazing experience. We're doing a Scandinavian capitals next spring. And this is, we've done a version of this, loved it so much, we said, let's do it again. So we've got a group going on that. We also do river cruises. So we've got Avalon in Bordeaux in this fall. We also have a great group that is a wine themed group, Gems of Southeast Europe. So it's Budapest to Bucharest. And we're going with a local vineyard here from Arizona that will have his wine on board, and he'll be hosting wine appreciation classes for us. We have 2 dates available in August on the Romantic Rhine with Lucerne and Lake Como on Avalon Waterways. And that's the Rhine River. You get off the ship in Basel and you go to Lucerne and Lake Como. Absolutely beautiful scenic cruise experience. And then in the spring of 27, we are doing an American Cruise Line cruise to the Columbia and Snake River. We're doing in 2026 Windstar and Azamara. You can do these as back-to-back with 4 nights in Athens in between, or wherever you want to go in Greece for those 4 nights. And it's a truly amazing small ship experience. Windstar has about 300 people. Azamara has 750. Just wonderful ports and itineraries there. And then if you want to do something a little bit out of the box, we have a Svalbard Odyssey, and Svalbard is further north than Iceland and Greenland. It is entirely inside the Arctic Circle, and this is a cruise where you can see all kinds of Arctic birds, polar bears, beluga whales, all different kinds of seals. All amazing experience, and glaciers galore. You probably see 2 or 3 glaciers every day. And you explore via Zodiacs. This is an expedition cruise, and it is priced accordingly. It is going to be an amazing experience, 120 passenger ship. So if that's something else that's on your mind, always wanted to go explore the Arctic, this is the way to do it. We also are doing Antarctica cruises with the same company in 26 and 27. So if small ship exploration of the polar regions is something that's on your bucket list, get in touch with me. I will tell you all about it. But this cruise has some pretty amazing things. It's going to be kind of hard to top this. So, that's why we all came here. I want to just reiterate, it's, you visit the Maritimes in Canada. You're going to see Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Netherlands, and all of this you do without having to take an overseas flight. So you just get yourself to Boston, get on the ship, and you have this 35-night wonderful cruise. And you're going to see so many different parts of the world that you wouldn't normally see on a regular cruise. There's cruises that go to Canada, there's cruises that go to Iceland, but not any that combine all of these fabulous destinations together. So we hope you'll join us on this cruise. We got carried away and booked it last month. We weren't sure if we were going to go. We were having such a good time on the 28-night cruise. We're going to do this next summer. Even though we've visited a lot of these places, we know that there's things that we haven't seen in so many of them. So we're escorting. We'd love to have you come with us, be part of our group. And with that, I'm just going to ask if there's any questions or comments or anything, questions anybody wanted to ask, go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to ask something, and I'll be glad to answer it.
There are no questions in the chat box.
Okay, none in the chat box. Okay, well, I want to
Hold on,
thank
just wait a
everybody.
second.
Oh,
No, I just wanted to say it was a great presentation. Beth and I have a lot to talk about probably.
huh?
So, we'll stay in touch. We've got your information. It looks like a great trip.
Oh, it's going to be fabulous. We are so excited that we've decided to go on this. So we are thrilled. Steve doesn't like the hot weather, so Arctic cruises in the summer are our favorite thing to do. We'll be gone, most of July and a little bit into August. So it's going to be a wonderful experience. Well, so I want to thank everybody that joined us. We're so glad to have you here. And if you're watching the video, please, pause the slide. It's got our contact information. We'd love for you to reach out to us. We'd love to do a full quote for you on this, answer any questions you might have. The deposit is completely refundable up until 20 days before, 120 days. Let me repeat that again, 120 days before departure. So it is, you can book now and not put your deposit at risk because they will refund it. So,
And later tonight, we'll put a recording of this webinar up on YouTube. So if you want to watch it again, or it's specific stuff you want to look at or share it with somebody else, it'll be available for viewing.
Okay, great. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. If you want to just stop the recording, we'll say goodbye to the people